ఎనిమిది గంటలకి I request all the participants to rename yourself with the names registered in AICTE portal. Dear participants, please rename yourself with the names which you have got registered in AICTE portal. That will help us to record your attendance accurately. Okay. The future of agriculture depends not only on how well we grow our crops, but on how wisely we use our sciences. Unquote by Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. Good evening to all the participants, invited speaker, principal, vice principal, director, IKSC coordinator, HODs of all the departments, coordinators, and teaching fraternity of Dayanand Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce. On behalf of Dayanand Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce, it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all to the AICTE sponsored Atal 6 Days Online FTP on theme Greening the Future, Advanced Agricultural Economy and Sustainability through Technology and Innovation from 10th November to 15th November 2025. Agriculture has long been the backbone of our nation's economy and the livelihood of millions. However, the challenges posed by climate change, resource depletion, and growing population pressures demand urgent adaptation. Sustainability is no longer an option, it is an imperative. This faculty development program aims to provide a vibrant platform for exchanging innovative practices, cutting edge research, and technological solutions that can transform traditional farming into sustainable, efficient, and environmentally responsible systems. Over the coming days, the participants will engage with distinguished experts, explore new technologies, and discuss policies and pedagogical approaches that can seamlessly integrate sustainability into agricultural education and practice. I sincerely thank the organizing committee for their unwavering dedication in bringing this program to life. Now, to invoke the divine blessings and mark the beginning of this auspicious occasion, I now invite Miss Neha from BCom for invocation song.
ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಗೌರಿ ತನಯ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಗೌರಿ ತನಯ ತ್ರಿಜಗವಂದಿತನೇ ಸುಜನರ ಪೋರೆವನೆ ತ್ರಿಜಗವಂದಿತನೇ ಸುಜನರ ಪೋರೆವನೆ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ पाशाङ्कुशधर परमपवित्र मूषिकवाहन मुनिजनप्रेम गजवदना ಬೇಡುವೆ ಮೋದದಿ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಪಾದವ ತೋರೋ ಸಾಧು ವಂದಿತನೇ ಆದರದಿಂದಲೇ ಸಾಧು ವಂದಿತನೇ ಆದರದಿಂದಲೇ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಸರಸಿ ಜನಾಭಶಿ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ನಿರುತ ನೆನೆಯುವಂತೆ ನೀದಯ ಮಾಡೋ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಬೇಡುವೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Thank you, Neha, for the blissful divine invocation. Now, I would request Program Coordinator of this FTP, Dr. R. Pavitra, Assistant Professor, Department of BBA, to welcome the gathering.
Good evening, one and all present here. Smart farming is not just about machines. It's about intelligent minds nurturing the planet. With this famous thought, I, Dr. R. Pavitra, Assistant Professor, Department of BBA, and the Program Coordinator, would like to welcome you all to the 6 days AICTE sponsored Atal online faculty development program titled Greening the Future, Advancing Agricultural Economy and Sustainability through Technology and Innovation, scheduled from 10th November to 15th November. We are privileged to have with us Dr. Sundaram Seshadri, Advisor, Life Sciences from Sri A.M.M. Murugappa Chettiar Research Center, Chennai, who is our key speaker for the day. Welcome you, sir. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our respected Principal, Dr. Balu L., and respected Vice Principal, Professor Hemant Upala. Welcome you, sir. My heartfelt welcome to our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Gurunath R., respected research coordinator, Dr. Sublabh Kanti Podar, and respected head of BBA, Professor Rekha MP, and respected director of MBA, Dr. Venkatesh B.R., and respected head of the BCom department, Professor Murugesha B.N., and respected director of MCA, Dr. Kumudavalli MV, and respected head of BCA, Dr. Aruna Devi, and respected head of MCom department, Dr. Mahalashmi ma'am, and respected head of BSc, Dr. Guru Prasad, welcome you, sir and ma'am. I'm happy to welcome Dr. Subleshmi Somu, Associate Professor, Department of Management Studies, MBA BU, Program Co-Coordinator for this FTP. I also extend a heartfelt welcome to all the participants from various institutions across the country who have joined us with enthusiasm and curiosity to learn, share, and collaborate in this journey toward a greener and more sustainable future. Let us make this FDP not just a program of learning, but a platform of inspiration, innovation, and collective responsibility towards sustainability. Welcome you all.
Thank you, Dr. Pavitra, for welcoming the speaker and the participants. Now, I would request our ever supporting and dynamic principal, Dr. Baluel, to give his valuable opening remarks about the FTP.
Very good evening to one and all. Is it audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. I think the topic what our team has chosen from Dayana Sagar College of Arts, Science and Commerce is relevant not only for today, I think days to come and years to come. The entire theme what we have started with brainstorming on creating that green future is not for one person cause, it is a universal cause. So after a lot of discussion, I think Subbalakshmi madam and the team have come with a wonderful concept which is to be discussed, delivered and deliberated in next few days with all key officials who are the people who are planning to take decisions days to come. And I think in this junction, what I want to mention to all the teachers, resource persons, and the industry policymakers who are attending this wonderful FDB program, let us all work together, discuss and brainstorm and evolve with those type of green initiatives which help all of us to digitally transform by using AI and big data, right, in order to enrich ourselves to create eco-friendly technologies in this wonderful economy. And this happens only when we as teachers take this with the students and the industry for the future. And I sincerely appreciate all the faculty members, right, industry experts, and resource people who are contributing for this 1 week session in order to create green economy. So I appreciate and congratulate all the organizers to organize these type of FDPs days to come, not as a single entity, as a community to create a green economy worldwide. So all the best for the entire DAC organizers, and I appreciate all resource people and faculty members to have this brainstorming session to create a green world, green economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your words have truly set a positive tone for the sessions ahead.
Very
It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker for the session, Dr. Sundaram Seshadri, Advisor Life Sciences at Sri A.M.M. Murugappa Chettiar Research Center, Chennai. Sir is an eminent academician, researcher, and entrepreneur with over 3 decades of experience in biotechnology, environmental science, and innovation management. Dr. Sheshadri holds his MSc, MPhil, and PhD in botany from Bharatidasan University, Trichy. He currently serves as the coordinator of the Technology Business Incubator at Satyabama University, Chennai, where he mentors startups and fosters innovation through initiatives supported by the Department of Science and Technology and Niti Ayog's Atal Innovation Mission. He has also been a mentor of change under the Atal Tinkering Labs, chair of the Mentor Advisory Panel for the Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust, a CII initiative, and the honorary secretary of the Indigenous and Frontier Technology Research Center. Dr. Sheshadri's research contributions span biofertilizers, biofuels, microbial technology, algal biotechnology, and sustainable rural development, with an H index of 28 and over 90 publications in reputed national and international journals. His work has had a lasting impact on both scientific advancement and societal benefit. He has guided numerous doctoral scholars and has represented India in several international research collaborations, including as a Brain Pool Fellow at National University, Korea. An inspired academic and an innovation leader, Dr. Sheshadri continues to bridge the gap between science, sustainability, and entrepreneurship, empowering head researchers and startups to translate ideas into impactful innovations. Now, we would listen to the inaugural note by Dr. Sundaram Sheshadri.
Thank you very much, madam, for this opportunity. Respected principal, respected organizers, organizing team, and the participants. This gives me a wonderful opportunity and also immense pleasure for me to be part of this inaugural program. So the conference aptly titled, as observed by the principal, Greening the Future, Advancing Agriculture Economy and Sustainability Through Technology and Innovation. So this holds good for past, present, and tomorrow in this kind of changing world. This is more important. We have discussed continuously and come up with the answers every now and then. And we all know agriculture in today, India stands at a critical crossroads, not only here in India, across the world. This is the same thing. We know very well that GDP from agriculture is always down, going down year by year. But still, there is a requirement for us to fulfill, as observed by the speaker earlier to me while introducing the subject. There is a big requirement for us to think for the entire population. The world population is around 800 crores, and Indian population, the world first, we are first in the world, 145 crore population. The path forward lies in embracing technology innovation, not as a replacement for traditional wisdom, but as a powerful enablers that enhance the productivity, sustainability, resilience, and taking the traditional things also into consideration. And if we take India's agricultural development, it is mostly anchored in the vision of self-reliance and sustainability. So why I'm telling you this, in spite of presence of many research institutes, even the departments and government departments, private institutions, private companies, still the farmers' wisdom plays a major role in deciding the agriculture done in India. So here today marks the day of one important person. I do not know how many of us know. who talked about Swadeshi economics. Since because topic is also talking about agriculture economy, I have to tell this about this man, Datopan Tengadi from Maharashtra, hailing from Varda, a small village called Arvi, and it's also called as a Rashtra Rishi, is behind one of the world's largest agriculture and also the employees union, right, in the world. His thoughts still continue to guide the country, whatever form we call it as socialism, democracy, communism, or whatever we call it as. Our Indian way of economy also plays a bigger role. That is why still Indian agriculture is also have not seen much problems like other countries. Because I had a chance interacting with people in other countries who continuously follow the procedures given by the institutions and also other things. But in spite of developments, our farmers have their own vision. So here also Dr. Dattopan Tengadi's vision of Swadeshi-based agriculture economy that's mostly emphasized on self-sufficiency. That's more important. India talks about self-reliance now. Self-sufficiency, rural empowerment. I mean, helping people to live in the villages than migrating to the cities, rural empowerment, and harmony between man, nature, and technology. So that means we have to play, there should be an interplay between man, nature, and technology. That means we should not overuse the technology and we should not overexploit the nature. And man has to live continuously for generations. This is the expectation. Dr. Sri Dattopan Tengadi, he foresaw the agriculture not merely as an occupation but as a holistic system where the village as an ecosystem with economics, ethics, and ecology. So this is the crux of that. But of course, we are going to deliberate a lot on the agriculture sustainability through technology, innovation. It's also good to ensure that our progress remains rooted in our India's strength and traditions. That's very much important. I'm just taking a little extra time here because always we are always guided and guarded and specifically taken towards economy, technology, innovation, science, research, all these things. Everything is wonderful. But in agriculture area, even I have been working with more than 10,000 farmers across the country. I could see the wisdom and knowledge of the farmers holds more importance than we taking something good to the people. But of course, ours also, I'm not telling that we are bad. We are taking something good. But every time we go and hit, we miss many things and we finally come back to the laboratory. We try to come up with new models, new ideas. We release so many varieties, but very many varieties even fail at times. Some varieties go forward, some varieties give a lot of difficulties. And in spite of that, everything is going forward. We use different fertilizers, we recommend different fertilizers and government policy changes. All these things happens over a period of years, not over a period of not decades. I would say even just 5 decades we have been talking about all these things after the advent of green revolution. Before that, the traditional wisdom was only taking, in my slides I'm covering many things there, of course, in the presentation, but technology requires to be strengthened and has to strengthen the farmers hands. That is more important, and promote ecological balance, contribute to the creation of an equitable and resilient economy. That is more important. Resilient rural economy, I would say. Of course, we are going to discuss about all the titles are wonderful. The topics selected for this discussion are wonderful. In fact, I expect all the participants also participate in this kind of discussions. The evolving agricultural economy, green economy, sustainable agriculture, circular economy, smart farming techniques, precision agriculture, digital transformation, agri supply chain, green finance, all has a lot of relevance to the modern agricultural development happening across the country. And there are so many other things also there, how SDGs also help in agriculture sustainability, how the Indian knowledge system and agroecology can also stabilize the way agriculture is done in India, and contemporary research that's happening in agriculture technology. Like that, so many things are there. Of course, finally, we are also going to talk about, I mean, not we, other experts are going to talk about the curriculum design and pedagogy for agri-tech education. All these things are there. I hope this forum will reaffirm our collective commitment to build an agriculture future that reflects the Swadeshi spirit. That means self-reliance. We know the recent developments happening across the world also. We will discuss in the presentation. But self-reliance, sustainability, and inclusive growth are more important for every country now. Every country is getting insulated into them. So there is a important requirement. I mean, there's an eminent requirement for us also to think about India, our state, our village, our district, and see how we can ensure prosperity for the nation as well as the farmers and well-being of all. Thank you so much. I'll be happy to discuss with people, and I hope all of you will also enjoy this wonderful 5 or 6 day session. So, and the organizers will come up with wonderful summing up of the policy required, the points required for policy documentation or policy changes across the country. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for those inspiring and thought provoking words. Now we would formally conclude the inaugural session before we proceed to the actual program. I would request all the participants to stay back as we are to start the first session titled The Evolving Agricultural Economy. Before we start the session, there are few instructions to the participants. Minimum 80% attendance is compulsory. Last day, that is 15th 11th 2025, Saturday, online test will be conducted between 6:30 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. Participants has to score 70% marks in test in order to get Atal FGP certificate. Compulsory online feedback has to be given by the participants through portal available on their login. Every day, feedback link will be sent to respective WhatsApp group and registered email. Please try to fill up the feedback within the same day. And the participants who has not received the link, you will get the link in the chat box. You can take the link help and you can fill the feedback whatever you are going to get every day. And we request all the participants to attend pre-assessment test on the same day. Now, I would request Dr. Sundaram Seshadri to take over the session.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And of course, we have a 6:30. We are starting now. Exactly, we are starting now. This goes for 1.5 hours. If I am right, please correct me, madam. 6 to 7:30 and 7:30 to 9. There are two sessions we are going to talk about. If I am not audible, please correct me and also raise your hand. I'll be happy to change this audio or something required also here. And if at all I just want to talk, I could see some 130 people here. I'd be happy to get your opinion also in the chat box. If you are really conversant with, I'll be happy to get your remarks on the title. The title talks about very interesting thing. Evolving agriculture economy of India. Just what we think about this, what do we expect out of this is one thing we also need to see. If you have any comments, I'll be happy to get in the chat box. Of course, I was trying to get this Mentimeter. It is not helping me properly. So I'm asking you if you are fine, you can also give your comments in the chat box. Why I'm telling you purely because there is a big change happening in the country. Most of you people are from commerce. Today also morning I was talking to a group of commerce students, not the faculties, of course. I was talking about a different title and talking about the requirement of innovation in the way we do things also. Innovation and startup entrepreneurship. This is what the title I was talking to them. But here, if you really go around the country and also open the external ecosystem, we will also find out there's a big change happening. Not only in terms of consumerism, but also happening in terms of the way we produce products. And in between, while I was driving back home, I'm sitting from home and doing this session also. While I was driving back home, there was a discussion in one of the WhatsApp groups talking about how Amazon is helping the customers and how the people associated with Amazon are selling the products. Since the people are from commerce background, I'm also trying to feed this idea how the relationship changes now because of this digital commerce. We know there is a new development happening in the country called ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce, right? So these are all things to be taken into account before we proceed into the backward integration process called agriculture. After all, we are all working for three things: roti, kapda, and makan, right? The food, the cloth, and the housing. The good life, for good life we are working. But most of the time what happens, we conveniently forget and we conveniently consider All our consumer goods are somebody done by somebody, somebody is giving to us, and we are only consumers. We are here to go to some office, earn some money, and that money can be used for purchasing something. This concept has to change. This is what I told you in the introduction also, the holistic development or importance of holistic development. In the holistic development process, we are supposed to think the country as a whole or the area where we live as a whole. Only if we start considering our living area as a whole, we will start addressing everything. We can't say we can import apples from some other country. We can't say we will be importing nuts from other country and some other products from some other countries. And many things we talk about all these things, import, exports, all these things. And India was also one of the wonderful exporters of agricultural products to other countries. But still we are doing it, and many states are also standing big, tall in this area, exporting many products to the country. But if you go deeper down and try to find out the problems faced by the farmers and the agricultural fields, are in general the agriculture face the factors faced by agriculture in the settings is something different. So we also have to have a what I would say kind of whirlwind tour to all the villages and find out if you are all from agricultural families, it will be nice. I am from agricultural family, and still we have agriculture. We do agriculture and different crops we do, but still there are a lot of. But our way of doing agriculture is something different from the way agriculture is done by many farmers. For example, if India has more number of small and marginal farmers, right, and we know the numbers also, and how India works also has to be considered. I just try to share my slides that will give you a little more information about what we discussed. And if you see this, the evolving agriculture from subsistence to sustainability and smart growth. So nowadays we talk about smart growth. In this smart growth, we talk about now the current trend is we talk about artificial intelligence. There is a wonderful publication recently brought out by Government of India also, how artificial intelligence can help agriculture in India to be done differently. So that means we are trying to ape the technological developments just like that and move towards using that. But in the process, we conveniently forget the process happening in the actual fields or the problems faced by the actual farmers. What I'm telling you is the transition from one to another itself is a very big process. We know very well in those days, some 40 years back, 50 years back, most of our forefathers, or 60 years back, our forefathers or our grandfather, whoever be the case, we never had the chance of using chemical fertilizers in the farms. We never had the chance of using chemical fertilizers in the farms. That means we were banking mostly on subsistence agriculture. That means we do agriculture, we try to use the proceeds for our own purpose, and the excess given to other people, neighbors, or to the villages, or to the next villages. There were shandis also even before the advent of independence or whatever we call it as, right? But still, uh, our people were going for barter exchange kind of things. I give you rice, you give me chilies, I give you rice, you give me Jover, or I give you Jover, you give me Dania, whatever call it as we call it as. It's a kind of exchange of materials happening in those days. Even for other products, basic requirements of humans, we were trying to use all these things for exchange of materials, even for the buying gold to utensils to many things, whatever we want to use in our conditions, we try to use our agricultural products for this purpose. And there was a perfectly organized system in those days. Even we had those days, but we conveniently forget now how the agriculture are also done by people. So I'm not going further into that area, but still we have to discuss this. Thank you, the people. But we should not forget this. This is more important. India has a rich agrarian heritage. That is important. With 145 crore people, when we started during independence, around 40 crore people, nearly 90% of people were engaged in agriculture, either as owners or workers or associated with agricultural processes. But now, over a period of years, with the changes happening in the agricultural ecosystem, even then to now, whatever we call it as, there was a challenge always. The productivity, the fragmented landholdings, limited financial access, Now we are talking about now. But the low productivity is also one thing that is haunting us in those past days also. But it was optimum productivity. I didn't want to call it as a low productivity as we now call in the modern parlance. I will call it as a optimum productivity we had in those days. And vulnerable to climate change, and the methodology of traditional farming systems, which may or may not be of used now, but still many things are useful that we can discuss later. But we need innovative solutions or the alternative thinking process to change the inefficiencies and come up with new methodologies for us to move further and build resilience. Why I'm bringing this? These are all the small statistics I have collected from sources, or it is latest numbers only talks about. The agriculture in India employs around 55. If you go back 20 years, it was 75% of the people. With the changes happening in the industrialization and the computerization and the way we do a lot of things now, things are changing and the people employed in agriculture system is slowly coming down from 90% to 55% now, and employs around 68.4 million full-time agriculture households. That means still India is rooted in agriculture. But the contribution of the agriculture to GDP is now 18.3% or so, but it is slowly, gradually coming down. I have the graphs also, but there are a lot of reasons for that. But the GDP in terms of money is not enough for us to consider as a holistic development of the country. But since we talk about in commerce or economy, we always relate everything to GDP. And you know very well, Bhutan talks about gross national happiness, GNP, right? GNH. So it all depends on the way we interpret things, but agriculture plays a major role in still, I would say, in spite of industrialization or changes happening across the ecosystem. So the next point is it's also crucial for food security and rural livelihoods. This has to be discussed in detail also. One thing we know, the following slides also will give a little more information how India fared in the green revolution time. India has started producing more. I mean, it's more to do with expanding the agricultural operations using one is use of channelizing the water for more irrigation areas. One second thing, use of borewell waters for agricultural purposes, use of high yielding varieties, and use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and so many other things also contributed to the larger production of food products in the fields. That is one thing. That is why from 40 crores to 145 crores now we are talking, still we are marching ahead. We are almost touching 148 crores. India could be able to supply the food grains for satiating the requirements of all the people. And surplus we are exporting to other countries also. Now this is one thing India has done marvelously, and it is the world has also shown as an example to the world. But in this process, we are industrialization also. Even I was talking to 2 days back to one of our friends, the area surrounding, I'm from Chennai, the surrounding Chennai areas, districts also getting fully industrialized, and we are coming up with the new airports, plush big airports, and the land cost of airports, the land cost near the airports also growing multifold. What was sold for 20 lakhs, now it's selling for 2.5 crores per acre. The energetic farmer toiling in the fields now has become a owner of the multi-crore property. So at one point of time, he'll be forced, because of the changing economy, he'll be forced to sell the land, and there will always be a pressure on the lands or productive lands converted to other processes. That means we are also forced to think of alternatives to feed the population, because there is no way that we can reduce the population just like that. And another thing, the burgeoning population of the cities also has to do with the pollution and other associated issues, health issues, sanitation issues, water pollution, ocean pollution, and so many other things. I mean, exacerbation of pollution also leads to a lot of consequences. So in this case, how do we change the way rural settings works? Whether we can provide the same life to the people living in the cities to the people living in rural areas. You know, some 20 years back, our former President of India, Abdul Kalam, came up with a wonderful idea called Pura. providing urban amenities in rural areas. Somehow still it is taking its own time to get implemented. But there's a big requirement for us also to transition from traditional to technology-led systems. That means now we know very well the rural areas also have the luxury to get all Wi-Fi, whatever we call it as. We can carry the laptop wherever we want, and we can have wonderful housing systems. The governments can create rural settings also. So we can create villages with only agricultural economy, agriculture oriented, or agriculture associated economy also, provided there is a thought process in the minds of the people to accept that changes. So this is a requirement. And next, if you see historically how we were transitioning from ourselves to this level now. So the first is pre-independence area, of course. That's a pre-British area, even we can call it as, of course, British were there. Because why I'm bringing this British word, specific very word, British, purely because there was a change in the agriculture happening when British came to India. That's why I'm bringing this. And 1960, 1965, it's more of monsoon dependency and optimum productivity. That was the one that is followed by people in those days. And later we saw 1965 or 50s when the government moved into green revolution to ward off or to address the famine, the famous Bengal famine that happened in Calcutta and surrounding areas. And as part of that, there were a lot of changes happening in the agricultural systems. India was forced to look on major crops, paddy and wheat. And now we have, maize also as part of that, of course, but paddy and wheat were given most importance, right? So there's a change that where we also brought in a lot of different alterations in the way the water is channelized, constructing dams, right? And also channelizing the water to lakhs and lakhs of new areas where there was no water, one thing. And second thing, we also came up with the idea of using high yielding varieties or improved varieties for improving the agricultural purposes. And simultaneously, we brought in fertilizers, pesticides, and also other agricultural implements like there are in those days, 1960s or 70s, we can call about. In paddy, we used to have this Kubota kind of things also. If people old people will also understand how we were using. In the 1970s, one of our agricultural officers told me, even 1970s, India had experimented spraying pesticides and fertilizers using aeroplanes. And now it is not used anywhere in Indian conditions, but now we are talking about use of drones in agriculture. There is a big miniaturization, but the required miniaturization happened almost 50 years or 70, 50, 60 years to come up with new development. Even near Chennai, I know very well where there is an area called the area where Changalpattu and that areas people used planes to spray fertilizers and pesticides in those days. They tried 1970s, but somehow things have changed. And post 90s, there was a big change happened. Of course, 1970s itself, if we are all in the know of the developments associated with agriculture, government came up with regulated marketing societies. And regulated marketing societies were considered as a forward integration of agricultural processes. The farmers produce the products, bring the product to the agricultural marketing societies. We tried so many models. Cooperative societies were one model. Regulatory marketing societies were one model. Different models we tried to finance the farmers, finance agriculture, and help the farmers to evacuate that to the regulatory marketing societies. It's a kind of moving the farmers from Shandy model to old market, old standing models to new regulated markets. So that was for some time working very nicely, and later part of time there are a lot of confusions happened. Still, we are somewhere in the corner. And 90s were the turbulent period after this globalization and the market reforms and diversification. Our signing the agreement with the GATT, Langle draft, all these things we know. I'm not going further into that. But the more important thing I want to tell you is 1990s, the introduction of globalization that really played a major role in the way agriculture also seen. Why? Purely because we were importing wheat in 60s and 70s from other countries. We have become self-sufficient, and we started stacking more amount of food products in the godowns also. And the globalization increased the economic parity between the haves and have-nots. Even now India talks about the big parity between the people in the rural areas and the urban areas, and the highest job pay to low paying jobs. There's a big parity between these two things. This is the widened, of course, still. Now there is a new development happening with this past 10 years. We can see that parity is getting narrowed down. That is why people are feeling the heat. Only those people who can really work in the fields, work in the agriculture, or work in the industries only can get the benefit out of this. We can't say the middleman can make big money out of this, but the middleman has come a different format now. And of course, associated with the marketing reforms and diversification, government policies also changed. With the government policy changes, now we are sitting in a different era called agriculture, digital agriculture. But in this process, over a period of years, the indiscriminate use of fertilizers and chemicals, due to the easy availability of making available these fertilizers and pesticides, the overuse of fertilizers and pesticides also took place in the agricultural soils. That's one thing. That is more to do with the government policy issues. We know very well, I do not know how many of us know about this. We talk about urea, most important chemical fertilizer used in agricultural fields. This urea is sold for 300 rupees per bag. Now it is 45 kilograms bag sold to the farmers. But nobody knows, or very few people know, Government of India is spending 1.7 or 8 lakh crore rupees only to subsidize this urea as a fertilizer. Because this fertilizer is patronized by farmers in huge quantities. Right from your paddy farmer to wheat farmer to many other areas, farmers patronize this urea. Few days back, 2 days or 3 days back, there is a new development from the Government of India side. You might have noticed that ammonium sulfate now is given more subsidies than other fertilizers. So there is a possibility the farmers may start using ammonium fertilizer also in higher quantities. But ammonium sulfate is little expensive. One thing. And second thing, urea has more than 40% nitrogen. Ammonium sulfate has only 20 plus nitrogen. That means 50% of the nitrogen only can be used in the field conditions. That means farmers will be rendered with less chemical fertilizers, and they also have to pay extra money. It is not deliberately done, because this money, if it is available, this can be used for many other purposes. Otherwise, what happens? Farmers indiscriminately use chemical fertilizers in the farms. Normally, a paddy or wheat, normally a crop requires at least 100 to 125 kilograms of urea. Normally, farmers use this. But at times, less is also fine. We have tested trials in almost 20,000 farmers' fields where 50% of urea fertilizer usage itself is enough for us to say that the farmer can get equal quantities of yield what they get now. But in spite of that, India is a poor yield taking country when compared to other countries, even US or even USSR or China. China is far ahead of us. Of course, South Asian countries are far ahead of us. We are half of China only in terms of productivity. But here, I'm coming back to our discussion part. This fertilizer also plays a major role. We will discuss that when we go to the slide also. But the historical view, we talked about this. Mostly it was something like optimum productivity and monsoon dependency. But of course, there was a misconception also. That time it was family land holdings. It is not small and marginal farmer land holdings. It was family land holdings. Whether one person is there, they have 15 sons or 5 sons or 3 sons or 2 daughters. It was a kind of merger acquisition kind of thing happening there in the land holdings. But it was a family merger, family acquisitions happening. I rarely come, but of course there was something happening in those days also. But later the advent of zamindari systems or mirasdari systems changed the way our agriculture was also done. And later part, this commercialization was the one I was hinting earlier. British introduced the cultivation system for commercialization, where what we were doing as a barter to money based system, because British introduced many new crops to India. The eastern coast was mostly growing, you might know. There was a lot of stories also. There were a lot of stories. We were growing more of indigo, because British never the word rice as a best crop for them because it's not their staple crop. Ultimately, they wanted cotton, they wanted indigo. So we know very well how the history worked in those days. I'm not going into the deeper in that area. That means farmers were forced to move to right from their traditional agriculture to new crops because there was a force happening from the government side, rural side also. So there, what happened? The changed everything, the subsistence crops to cash crops. The cash crops are feeding to British industries. They were giving money back to the people. So that means the way we do agriculture also changed. That also change brought in the disruption in the food grain production and traditional agricultural economy. That is one thing. And second thing, I'll come to this why this disruption happened. We'll come to that later. And then that also this money-based economy brought in the economic disparities. Inflation also started there. Industrial growth also had to thus adding to that. And people were moving from villages to government sector jobs. So there was a alignment happening there, realignment happening there, adjustments happening in these agricultural things also. And the takeover of lands from one group of people to other group of people also happened in between after this independence, post-independence, 1960s, 70s, 80s, even 90s. Even now we can see a lot of transformation happening in this process. Bigger farms are broken down to small farms. What the family had 15 acres now become 1.5 acres because the family tree divided into nuclear families. Now some families can talk about 1.5 acres or 2 acres or zero point 0.5 acres. The registration system in terms of registering the lands and the assigning money or cost to the lands also led to bifurcation, trifurcation or fragmentation of lands to small portions. Now we are sitting in a very catastrophic position where now we have to amalgamate all these farmers. We are finding difficulty. Though we have brought in a lot of new ideas, there is a still problem. Absentee landlordism and egoistic land farmers and the loss-making farmers and people are farmers in fear. Many factors plays a major role. And finally, they all got into invisible trap called poverty with low production and high exploitation. Why I'm telling you this has something to do with the present connotation. Now everybody does agriculture, but if you break down the cost, we can find out the money-based economy only change the way we do agriculture. Now what happened? The human resource cost takes bigger portion. Your input cost the next portion. So these two always go up and down always in deciding your agricultural profits. And as usual, your water, your soil, your climate plays a major role. You cannot control that. We cannot control the monsoon. We cannot control the downpour. We cannot control the cloud burst. We cannot control the scorching sun. But we have to control all these things. It is not possible here also. But we have to necessarily pay this money to the for people working in the farms. That means the farmer is forced to pay money to the agricultural laborers. Farmer is forced to pay money to the inputs. That means there's a big chunk of money goes only for that. And finally, when you go to the market, there is a price civilization or price fixation. So the difference between the cost spent and the difference the money received for the produce will be always less. And if you are agriculture, a rice farmer, paddy farmer, or wheat farmer, or paddy farmer, I can very well say, if you are a paddy farmer, you will be ensured of 10,000 to 15,000 rupees per season after 6 months as profit. Best case. Worst case, 5,000 also. If you are a farmer working on contract lands, then it's a different case. You have to pay some money to the owners also. And if you're working on different crops, there is vegetables. Vegetables has their own enemies. Of course, there is a bigger profits, but you have to rely mostly on those things, pesticides and fertilizers. Flower crops, the same thing. I was talking to one farmer growing jasmine here. The farmer said, "Sir, every week I am spraying 30 cents land. 30 cents land, he has jasmine, but he says, Sir, I am spraying 2,500 rupees worth of pesticides every week." Next question was, are you addressing the soil? No, the farmer do not know how to address the soil. Farmer do not know how to manage the farms. So these are all the areas we are now into. If we go to the next level, the structural shifts are happening now. One is the GDP is going down, the GDP share is going down, productivity diversification is going up, productivity is also getting optimized. You can see the agricultural transformation happening now. More farmers are moving towards dairy, horticulture, fisheries, and food processing. This is one development happening now. Food processing, I'll put it in the corner. But whereas there are farms transformed into fisheries. You may know Tamil Nadu started in a very big way, and Andhra Pradesh, if you are from Andhra Pradesh, you know how West Godavari, Nellore, and other areas are changed into only fisheries. Even parts of Orissa, parts of West Bengal, the east coast is full of only fisheries nowadays, controlled fisheries. And there's another aquaculture, I mean prawn culture and freshwater fish culture. All these things are transforming the entire agricultural ecosystem. And along with that, the horticulture is also taking place. The absentee landlords move towards horticultural crops like mangoes in areas. Even go to Karnataka, you can see more of mangoes. Andhra Pradesh mangoes, pomegranates. The land holding in pomegranates grown up like anything. Even paddy fields are converted into banana farms. Even banana also going up like anything because it's a cash crop. But it has its own vagaries to nature, but still it is a cash crop. And another thing, our knowledge and wisdom held by the farm, I mean, our ancestors, in terms of crop rotation was also gone. In those days, it was something like the orderly manner, pulses, sorry, cereals, pulses, oil seeds, or cereals, pulses, cereals, oil seeds. This was a kind of model we had. If it is a dry land, we had more of pulses and oil seeds. This was a kind of shift we had in those days. That was a traditional wisdom. With the advent of technologies and water pumping systems and other things, fertilizers changed the way we did agriculture. With the problems in agriculture also we can say, now it is paddy mostly, or paddy wheat paddy, or wheat paddy in northern areas, Punjab, Haryana, and parts of Uttar Pradesh. All these areas we can see, even Bihar also we can see paddy, or paddy wheat, something like that. It's a corn. That is why India is forced to now import good quantities of pulses from other countries. One. Second thing, in oil seeds, very rarely we go for that, and we are not even getting good quality seeds for groundnut in many areas. We can go to the farmers and talk to them also, right? So here what happened in 1980s, government of India came up with a new policy for promoting oil palm, but it's still for after 4 decades we are still finding difficult to promote that in a very big way. We India thought it Chadha committee in 1989, 1989. Chadha committee in ICR came up with a policy to say India can have wonderful transformation in oil palm. But thing is, that time when the Chadha committee came up with this policy, we had only 2 experiments happening in the entire country. One experiment was happening in Kerala, Bharatipuram. The other example was happening somewhere in Assam. And these 2 examples gave a a kind of leeway for us to think that it will be a transformation. 1990s saw Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh taking in a big way, of course Karnataka also. And we know the NRC, all these things are there, that's a different case. But the transformation, the expected transformation is not happening. We are still importing oil also from other countries to satiate the requirements. And now we are forced to import oil palm from Malaysia, and in the east coast and the west coast, of course, we are getting from other countries, right? So this is a big transformation happening. And now we are moving from subsystem to market linkage value chains. We are all witnessing all these things. There is a big political game also happening in between. We are not going into this. And the greater participation of women and youth in those days now shifted. If you go and ask the average farmer his age, it will be 55, 55. And no youth is interested in taking care of the agriculture now. So that means there is a big requirement for us to change the way we do agriculture now, to attract youth also to take up agriculture as one of the professions. And of course, in those days, women were the custodians of most of the agricultural operations. Now machines are taken over. That means there is also need of investments in terms of small implements. What we talked about earlier also is a requirement. And if we see this production at such area, this is over a period of almost 1970s to 1960s to 2024-25. You can see the land slowly it is increasing purely because of democratization of water and increasing the other technological systems. It's growing. Productivity also going almost closer to that. That means we are still growing. still growing because of the advancements happening in parallel, in spite of all drawbacks what we face in terms of the agriculture done by people and people moving from agriculture, new people taking over, in spite of our average age of the farmer going to 55 or so, and women moving out of agriculture. In spite of that, we are trying to address this, but still we have to go a long way is the point here. And another thing, gross value added by agriculture. We can see here, this can give you a very interesting thing. Agriculture and allied sectors, the blue color line you can see, over a period of years from 2011, 12 to 2023, 24, this is also moving up. That means the value, because the gross value added is almost in terms of money, the GVA also goes up, while other non-agricultural sectors are always going very fast. You can put it in industry, mechanical engineering basket, or electrical, computer science, or software, whatever basket, chemical basket, you put it everywhere. I mean, construction sector, so many things are there. But agriculture also gradually moving up. But there is a possibility if we start investing more in agriculture, there can be a trajectory or a kind of paradigm shift in agriculture. We do agriculture also. That is one thing I just want to emphasize here. And on the right side, figures also almost akin to that. I don't want to repeat, but you can get all this information from MOSPI. This is open information available everywhere, the open source information. But here you can see the difference over a period of years, how the crop production is slowly going down and the livestock is improving and forestry is almost maintaining the same levels. That means people in the tribal or forest areas are not harvesting much. That means there is a kind of status quo maintained there. Whereas you can see the fishing and aquaculture also going up slowly. And that you can see the next slides also will give you information about how the aquaculture also changed the way we did agriculture in Andhra Pradesh. Very interesting in Tamil Nadu also, and little bit in even Gujarat and Orissa also transforming the way it is done. And you can see this change is happening, right? 3 almost status quo and 4th almost going up. And I just want you people also to give me some information about this. Which is the top rice producing country in the world? Any guess here? You can also give me this in the comment box if you're okay. Or I given the answer also here. China tops that and India is there second. And still you can see the part played by these countries. You can see here, China, India play a major role in producing paddy, rice as a staple one. But in this process, the knowledge and wisdom of the old farmers is almost gone. That means the cereal pulses oil seeds, that's almost gone. We have to change the way we work now. This is very much important. Otherwise, what will happen is, again, we have to go back to different system, multi-cropping systems, multiple cropping systems. Of course, there are other things also talked by many people. We will discuss this later, right? So we see this, we have to change the way agriculture is done now because these monocropping systems are almost become rendered not that profitable for the farmer. He can't live a good life. Of course, the non-farm income of the people in India has grown up like anything. Now almost agriculture has become a secondary profession for most of the people, even land holding people also. Only those popular people in remote areas, there is a change. Otherwise, the non-farm employment is also giving money. Added to the government support systems, all these things. But still, it requires a lot of transformation. And wheat producing countries, you can see here, again India tops. The European Union coming in between is a union. But the countries, if you see, next to China, India is faring next. We produce a lot. And what happens to all the produce? We waste in the godowns. We do not have good storage facilities. If we are to have wonderful storage facilities, then India is one of the only country I would say stacking its food for another 5 years. But if we have wonderful silos and storage systems, we can even keep it for 10 years also. Not an issue. Our Food Corporation of India go downs, most of the time you can see even the direct procurement centers of the state governments, most of them it is getting wasted. So how are we going to change the way this produce are stored? Now we are coming up with warehouses, cold storage systems, all these things are wonderful. India has to invest a lot in this area. This is another important requirement. And peanut production, you can see again, China, India. We produce good amount of things. Still, we talk about malnutrition of Indian children, wasted and stunted children. The wasted, stunted, mostly it is more to do with zinc and iron, Fe. But here we get wonderful protein. We talk about malnourishment. We say we have to think of different protein products for the Indian children. And all these things are happening other side, but we conveniently ignore this. We have wonderful pulse production areas also. We have to protect this. We have to move towards other pulses also. They, even chana is one of the bigger thing, and the tur dal is another bigger thing. But now most of the dry areas also, with this kind of democratization of water, we are moving towards that paddy cultivation alone, because paddy has machinery. Other crops do not have machinery. We have to invest more into machinery production also. This machinery production will help the farmers also to think go for other crops. And equally, I just want to tell you this also. Of course, the following crops, India fares very well in these areas. Sugarcane production, India is number 2 in the world. Vegetable production, fruit production, cotton production. What for? For our people, we have to work a lot, not for exports, right? And you can see this. This is also giving you a wonderful example between 2011 and 2023. How the demography change is happening. Not demography means the crop change is happening. You can see banana taking a higher percentage, and fruits. There is a change, of course, right? And pomegranate, you can see 2% to 5% is going. Expansion, lemon, expansion. Like that, there is a change happening across different areas according to the climate, according to the soil, according to the farmer mindset. All these things play a major role in changing the way we do agriculture. But still, we have to go a long way. We have to help the farmers. We can't do the agriculture what we did some 50 years back, and help them also. In mango exports, we produce good amount of mango. Andhra Pradesh people know very well, Karnataka people know very well, Maharashtra people know, Uttar Pradesh people know very well, where, of course, Lucknow is one of these places where varieties of mangoes, you can 60 to 70 varieties of mango you can see in the markets. Tamil Nadu, of course, Kannada, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, we have only handful of, we lost all more old varieties also. We talk about only Alampur Banisan or Banganapalli or Totapuri kind of things, only 2 or 3 varieties. Wherever you go, you can see only crops. And wherever you go, you can see fungal sooty mold kind of things. Wherever you go, you can talk about only, ants destroying the entire crop. All these things happened. In spite of that, we started spraying more pesticides also here. But you can see here, India tops in selling and sending mango outside the country, followed by China and other countries. We are trying to produce, we are talking about ourselves as an export oriented economy. And you can see from this fruits and floriculture also, you can see we always talk about export orientation. The gross value output, you can see here, the change happened over a period of 10 years, right? This vegetable floriculture and fruits, the change happens here from one to another. Even a new state also emerged in between, you can see that, right? And one state has also moved out of this scene. That means bigger change happening, but it all happens only because farmers think about that. I can give you a simple example also. 30 years back, when the people are talking about growing strawberries in India, Tatas were Tata started growing. I seen that in Munnar, Kerala, in very small level. Nobody knew Mahabaleshwar will take over the entire, Maharashtra will take over the entire strawberry cultivation in of the country. Now they are exporting, sending the strawberry to different parts of the country and also trying to export. The change happens because farmers dabble with all these things, but we are not providing the kind of support from the other side. That's important, very much here, right? And you can see the arable density. This is also for the information I'm bringing here. The arable density for every Indian here is very, very less. Compared to other countries, Indians have only, with 148 crore population, we have only 11,500 or so square feet only left for every Indian arable land. In China, even it is less. 8,700 or 8,500 only. So there are countries, Singapore, if you go, it's only 9 square feet. Singapore necessarily has to import everything for their production systems. I think there is something happening in between. I don't know. Okay, fine. Right. So this also we have to keep in mind why we should think differently. The arable land, India is somewhere on the corner here, left corner. That's what I just want to tell you people. We are somewhere in the corner. We have to think differently to come up with answers. And again, this is a 10 years old story. Still it holds good, I would say. You can see the comparison compared to yield, average yield among countries on three different crops: paddy, pulses, and wheat. Here you can see on the left, you can see where India is, where China is, right? You can see the difference. Again, you can see here the average I'm talking about. Again, you can see the pulses in the center. It's somewhere on the bottom, right bottom, whereas you can see China is in the top. And again, you can see the paddy. India is somewhere below, and you can see this China where. So that means we are far below other countries in getting the kind of yield also. We can go a long way, provided we consider the soil as an enabling ecosystem for us to promote agriculture better, right? And next slide. This slide gives you a little more information about the comparison of productivity of selected crops across the world, right? You can see everywhere the total cereals compared to world and India: pulses, paddy, maize, soybean, groundnut. In only in groundnut we are almost equal. Other areas we can see there's a difference happening between this and that. So this is of course 3 years old story, but still it holds good for us to discuss. And I'm not bringing here. I just want to tell you this is a general understanding of the crop calendar for India, one particular area of India. In one single rice, the first one talks about Kharif and the other areas, right? But here you can see now the things are changing. The sowing dates are also changing in Indian conditions, purely because democratization of water, the availability of water. Farmers don't worry about monsoons. Farmers worry about months. Water availability, that's all finished. What used to start during the monsoon time, the sowing and transplanting, now it's advanced to summer months also. The harvest, at times, the harvesting also has gone to the level of summer months. That means only there is a window period, like Government of India schooling or colleges, where there is a holiday with the summer months. The agriculture also gets a holiday only during summer months. I don't know why. Even agriculture, the way we do agriculture also changed now. Our farmers used to go to the farmers in the early morning. But now what happens? As government employees, farm workers go to the farms by morning 9 o'clock, not in the early morning 6 o'clock or 5:30. So things are changing, but the associated issues are also there. 9 o'clock in the scorching sun, Indian conditions, tropical conditions, if you go to agriculture, it has its own repercussions. But whereas in those days, our people used to go to the farm by 6 o'clock morning, come out of the farm by 9:30 morning, by the time the sun goes up, above your head. And only after sun drops down the west, even in the 4 o'clock, we'll go and see the farms and come back. If there's some issues, they will address and come back. Things are changing now. And the another one, the fishing, this is what I told. 2011, 2023, you can see how the aquaculture and fishing also change in the East Coast. This is one development that we can see. Tamil Nadu was there in the map, and Kerala was also in the map in the 11 and 12. Whereas you can see in the 23, 24, 25 also even now, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, West Bengal, other districts, other states dominate than other states. What started is lagging down, lagging behind. Whereas Andhra Pradesh, you can see the Godavari, Nellore areas full of aquaculture. But of course, I don't know whether we can thank the US for banning aquaculture exports or to feel pity for this farmers of the Andhra Pradesh now who expanded like anything with the aquaculture, but now there's a big glut or stalemate in the aquaculture exports. So this has to transform. I don't know what farmers are going to do now. They have to see the local Indian market and sell at a lower price. And always aquaculture also has its own troubles. Farmers always spend huge money in managing their farms. So this is another issue that can be discussed later. And coming to this, the Indian agricultural export scenario. I'm not spending much time here because these are all information available. But there is only one important thing. The top one we can see 2.5% of global agricultural trade is taken care by India. Small portion. And the eighth in the worldwide as of 2023. And the last one we can see now we are expanding our growth. We are targeting to achieve 100 billion from 51 billion now. So that means we are exporting anything, whatever we have. And I used to jokingly tell people, I used to tell cashew as an example. We take cashew, in those days I'm talking not now. Now we are importing cashew, raw cashew, process it and export other countries. But in those days, even now we grow cashew, right? In Andhra Pradesh, if you go to Srikakulam area, Tamil Nadu, even parts of Kerala, Goa, we see cashew very nicely. Karnataka, we see. We produce cashew. We have 5 6 qualities. Out of those 5 6 qualities, first two qualities at least are termed as export quality. We export them and we get money, and we eat only the third, fourth, fifth, sixth quality. What for we are producing all these things? Are we not eligible to eat the best quality? Are we working only for money? Are we only working for worldly sophistication? So this mindset has to change. So that's what I just want to tell. And of course, these are all the transformation happening now. India is experiencing. We know very well. The precision farming almost started 25 years back, and now with the advent of international Internet of Things, use of drone technologies, and even the incorporation of AI now hugely into this agricultural systems. We may not know what is happening in AI, but AI has started, penetrating the agricultural areas also. And the government schemes like ENAM, Kisan Sarthi, the Agri Stack also transforming the way agriculture is done. But as usual, what is seen in other settings, here also it faces a lot of trouble. But the growth of agri-tech startups really I appreciate. We want more agri startups at the local level to change the way we do agriculture. We do agricultural product processing. We do agricultural based new products coming out to the market. So of course, the new addition is the Digital Agricultural Mission, the market, National ENAM, National Agricultural Market. It's a pan-India electronic trading portal. Now many farmers started using this. Of course, there's a corollary to this development called Kisan Sarathi, the ICT interface solution, and AgriStack. This is also, even the states also part of this AgriStack developing for their own states. Even recently, I saw lot of tender from Kerala coming up for development of so many solutions for the farming communities. And you can see now India in the agricultural startups, we have around 4,122 startups. Out of this, 718 are VC funded. 2,800 received government startup support systems, approvals. 1,700 got, now they got government money also from incubators. That means there is a healthy development happening. We have to push more people to come to the agricultural startup areas. Then only we can really help the farmers in the local area. Next, we can see the digital area. These are the developments we are seeing now. One is the Krishi Development System, Krishi Tag, AgriStack, and Digital Agricultural Mission. We can see the money allocation. This started last year, 2024, and we can see this other developments. Even the upper top left portion, you can see soil profile mapping. This started almost 25 years back, and rightly pointed out by our introductory speaker, M.S. Swaminathan, in 1990 started talking about soil profiling of Indian agricultural fields. But people, Dr. Shankaram, working for M.S. Swaminathan Foundation, first he was talking about soil mapping. Of course, we had simple soil analysis laboratories in part of the country. In the 1990s, when Dr. Shankaram wrote a very interesting article about soil mapping, people said it's a mammoth task. But now it has become a reality. We are talking about, governments are talking about soil mapping. And soil mapping also has to do with artificial intelligence and the decision making, agriculture decision making, decision support system for doing agriculture, for planning crops, for planning cropping systems. Everything now it is helping. So the bottom portion left also talks about Decision Support System, KDSS, right? This talks about this soil quality along with the climate. Even we would have seen that also climate advisory now. It has enormously improved now. In those days, people used to say, even the meteorology department say there will be rain, there will not be rain. If they say there will not be rain, there will be raining. But now the precision uh, system that India has come up with is helping a lot, helping the farmers to understand when there will be cyclones, when there will be drought, when there will be cloud burst, when there will be kind of downpour. All these things are helping us a lot, right? And of course, these are along with the ENAM and other things. This is also emerging. The digital farming system, we know the simple one we know very well, where you can use your mobile to even switch on, switch off your motor pumps, to even small scale. The precision agriculture we can see here, this talks about, we can see here this, the precision agriculture with even small scale meteorological systems also now is become a reality now. And your Internet of Things controls the agricultural system right from analyzing the soil moisture to giving you ideas whether you want to irrigate or you want to address fertilizers, all these things happening. And of course, this is we are heavily lagging behind, but there are a lot of studies and also support systems in terms of startups also coming up heavily to address this robotics area. And here the micro irrigation, of course, the growth of micro irrigation, I am giving you as an example how technologies are adopted by people in the farming community. And of course, this is another thing. Now, in terms of advocacy area, India is moving towards digital agricultural systems. And the digital, now we know how profusely we are using WhatsApp. There is a new development called RTI, but in the agricultural information area, it is fully understood that people always rely on Google and YouTube now. But in between, if you talk these two things, people are very much towards YouTube because they are they happily go through these videos. If you are preparing short videos on awareness, on crops, on varieties, on fertilizer application, on monsoon, people are happily watching that. That means you don't have to use your knowledge, or you don't have to grow up to say that I have to go to the laptop, I have to type Google, and even your mobile, I have to go to the browser, type Google and type what is the monsoon, all these things. Send a short video, people easily hear that and see that, and seeing also believing. That's one thing. And second thing, the voice-based technology also happening nicely. I mean, it's a blanket information dissemination system. If there is a requirement for, farmers to be addressed, straight away we can send out communication to all people. So this is also happening. And the bottom one, it talks about, because in the remote areas, we may not have enough bandwidth to send. That is why people are also coming up with user-friendly, low bandwidth designs and low quality, not low quality, low pixel kind of things, or low size videos, photographs, posters, and with the AI solutions, they are coming up with new technologies. Now this is going to take over in the days to come, and of course, it's also in practice. We are also working on technologies to help the farmers to reach out to the farmers also. So of course, these are all the challenges faced, identified by the ecosystem. One is farmers' lack of access to quality data leads to limited global market. Yes, farmers don't have the wherewithal to go and search for where I can go and sell the products. Now, the apps are helping the farmers to go through. Only few farmers still go through. Not all farmers are endowed with smartphones. Many are still surviving with the button phones also. The messaging system really takes them, help them also. One. And farmers rely on intermediaries still, because the knowledgeable people always win over others, but shrink the value they can realize if they are cut out. It's purely because the intermediaries play a major role. Without intermediaries, at times farmers are handicapped. They do not know where to go and sell. Right? So this also varies from place to place. I'm not going deeper. If we talk about that, it will take another 1 hour for us to discuss. And farmer producer organizations, the new development happening across the country. Government is pushing hard, but still there are a lot of letterpad for FPOs still working. And every system has its own negatives. This is also happening here, but it requires a lot of changing the way it operates. So FPOs has a lot of huge potential in the days to come. We need to analyze. Somebody can work on this also. How we can rejuvenate or give rebirth to the FPOs. There are so many FPOs dead. We need to give birth to this and help them. And always the next point talks about farmers need curated wisdom, not clutter from the internet. They don't want so many messages coming to them and say use this, that, all these things. One stop solution, use this and get finished. Now in the groundnut and paddy ecosystem, I can very well say our farmers always say, tell me one variety which I can use, I'll use it. Otherwise, don't come to me. If you say 10 varieties, I will not choose that. This is the problem. And now the other one, the farmers can choose the time of sowing, but they can't time the demand for their labor. Now the labor is a shortage now. So the equipment requirements is imminent now. This is seen visibly. And the other one, farmers always bank on yesterday's success. This you can see, if one farmer started growing new crop, automatically other farmer also will slowly watch that fellow. The next time or third season, this farmer also will also start using that. But no farmer are alike. That is a different case. But if you see that, the farmers will try to ape others very casually in terms of choosing the seed varieties, in terms of adopting fertilizers, in terms of adopting pesticides, in terms of adopting machineries, in terms of payments, in terms of receiving payments. Everywhere they try to, we always are, everybody for that matter, we try to get a cue from others to run our day-to-day affairs. There's another one, there is a significant lag in getting the results of research conducted in universities. This is there everywhere. We are not translating or transforming our knowledge just like that. Private industries always score and leading farmers score. And then farmers with the knowledge and wisdom always score. Then we translate right away from the laboratory to the fields. This takes longer time. There's a big gap between this. So we need to address all these things. Of course, the policy developments happening from the Prime Minister's Fasal Bima Yojana, Soil Health Card, Kisan. The Fasal Bima Yojana is another one. Still, it is limping, but it has a lot of opportunities to grow bigger because the insurance is a wonderful thing for the farmer to insure his crop or getting something when something goes wrong, RE, right? And doubling the farmer income focus, the policy is driven towards that. And a lot of other things also coming up, FPOs, cooperatives, and infrastructure logistic modernization. Now, even Government of India subsidiaries also coming up with new policies on how they can improve logistics and infrastructure across the country. We can see all this development in the coming days. So these are all going to be imminent. And this is another big development. Farmers are moved out of this financial issues. Financial literacy also growing up over a period of years. Not I'm talking today, 10 years. I'm talking about almost 70 years. 1950s to now you can see there's a big transformation happening because of the microcredit institutions, government lending institutions, banks, small banks, microfinance institutions. All these things are changing the way people are not forced to go and get money from many other means. So this is also changing now, right? Of course, it's a good healthy sign for us also to talk about this. And then market dynamics and exports. They also play a major role. This is more to do with the government policies, the growing food processing industries in terms of startups and new companies. They also have a backward integration of working with farmers. The vegetable industry also works in tandem now. The new way of vegetable shops also working closely with the farmers, go directly to them, buy the produce and sell to the market. So that means intermediates are cut and farmers are getting little extra benefit. We have seen this also, and consumer are also not taken for a ride. That means there's a big change happening now. And the exports, of course, the rice area we are now facing a lot of issues, but it's also good because our people need a lot of new products and good products. Marine products, of course, India can democratize marine products rice also to all people than only worrying about exports and export profits. The export profits are not transferred directly to the farmers. It is translated only to the intermediaries. There's no point talking about it. If you really want to help the farmers, we have to think differently. FPOs is the one idea. But farmers are not coming together purely because of the inherent problems faced by people in the local areas. But this also getting changed. We know Seshadri kind of examples, Amul kind of examples and cooperatives. There are many examples are there. But we have to also talk to the responsible faculties and the responsible uh, citizens of the country. We should be in a position to go and talk to them also to help them why they should come together for collective profitability or collective bargaining. And cold chain logistics is also expanding like anything. And India is emerging as an export hub in spite of all troubles. So these are all the new developments happening. And you can see this, the food product processing industries. This is a very latest data, July data. We can see this, how we are also growing in our food processing. So I don't want to read all these things. This is available in the Press Information Bureau of Indian government. You can get all this information. One thing you can see here, the GVA, Indian food processing sector, contributes 7.93 of GVA in manufacturing in 2023. That means it has its own big chunk. This may go up also, right? So there is a big opportunity. And other thing, you can see here the largest producer of milk, onions, and pulses is also wonderful. I mean, pointers for us to say that we are going a different trajectory. Of course, this is another area we need to address. Government is also addressing in a bigger way, right? The third point is more important. Government of India has come up with a national mission on sustainable agriculture and national mission on natural farming. Fourth, and now we are also talking about, last year we had the millet year, and this area has to be addressed a lot. The democratization of water also changed the way we eat. You know, our people, our ancestors were not all people taking rice or wheat as a staple. In the inland areas, even if you go to Maharashtra, parts of Karnataka, even Andhra Pradesh, the sorghum is the one, jowar roti is the one devoured by people. Many other parts I'm talking about. In Tamil Nadu, there's a very big change happened because of the PDS system. Many people moved towards rice. The jowar eating people moved out. And millet eating people also, now I'm working with the tribal people, the tribal area, people growing little millets, they are exchanging millets for rice because the PDS system gives free rice to them and they take rice and they eat rice and they sell millets for money. So this also has to change. So this change in the food habits also affects the agricultural change happening across. We need to come up with new products from millets. Just very much because millets, oil seeds, pulses are more towards dry lands. So if we are to allow the farmers in dry lands also to make good profits equal to other crops, then people will not move. They will not worry about cash crops. They only think government also should come out of, fixing minimum support price for rice and wheat to pulses also. And eating habits also has to be changed. This is also important. Our grandfathers would have eaten, consumed jowar or ragi, right, or any other pulse, millet, right? We had equal good amount of pulse also. Now pulse, we are not taking much of pulse. Very little pulse we take. Oil seeds, we are banking heavily on oil palm oil. No, not in our gingery oil or coconut oil or even groundnut oil, all these things. We need to change. Go to north, you can see the mustard oil kind of things also. So we need to go back to our system so that we can help the farmers also. And we term all these things as not healthy. They are not that bad. They are also good. The only thing we need to educate our people why they should consume this. And coming to this composite into agriculture sustainability state-wise, you can see I'm not going much deeper into the area. India is still far better, I would say. Using 54 indicators related to environment, health, soil quality, water quality, social development, India is somewhere having the index value of 0.49. And these states, Mizoram, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Manipur, West Bengal, Uttarakhand, perform better than other states. So that means we are still healthier in terms of agriculture. The only thing is, this is another development from government. National Mission on Natural Farming. Right? The salient features is mind blowing. The only thing is, we have to help the farmers understand why they should adopt this national mission, why they should go and closely work with government. This is important. 15,000 clusters, right? And the same thing happened in drones also. In drones, government has come up with drone DDs. It is not taken fully, subscribed fully, but in here and there in corners, pockets, we are adopting the technology. But in pockets, we have seen many farmers also started using drones. And there are companies coming up. But this is also important. Why they should look soil as an important component. Soil is not just like that with sponge. To say we will add water, we will add chemicals, we will get crops. Hydroponics will do the magic, I'm sure about hydroponics, aeroponics, aquaponics. But still, as a responsible country, we are banking on soil in a very big way. So it means we have to educate our farmers to look into soil as an important component. Improving the soil organic content, improving the soil water holding capacity, improving the soil available microbial load. So these things will help them reduce chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides, and even abiotic factors like abating droughts, right? And even other pests also will face difficulty if the soil quality is very good, because the soil organic content also increases the building blocks like micronutrients. We don't have to think about talking help the farmers to say, please apply zinc, manganese, ferrous, copper, or even boron, molybdenum, all these things. So this requires transformation. Everybody should take the wear the hat and go and talk to the farmers. You can see this. The state rural livelihood missions and primary agricultural cooperative societies, APOs, can play a major role in bringing transformation in natural farming systems. The emerging opportunities are here. Still, we can train our youth to take up agriculture as one of the entrepreneurship goal. That is one thing. And the new development happening, this many farms also coming up in agritourism and direct to consumer brands. It said organic, but anything can be taken to the consumer so that the intermediates are cut. If the farm produce is 10 rupees, the consumer price should be 15 rupees maximum. It should not be 20 rupees or 30 rupees or 50 rupees. If the consumer can get 50 rupees, farmer is also entitled to get 30 rupees or 50 rupees, 40 rupees. The intermediary can take very less. The processing cost is always very less. The in between what you have is processing cost and storage cost. The third one is marketing cost. So these things should be always less. The producers get more. That's important. We are not in the exploitative world. And the next point is the food processing sector also is expanding, and still youth and women can take up this in a very big way. There are few areas we see green shoots, but still a lot of things can be done. Rural processing sector, rural processing facilities, rural processing centers, rural processing companies. Many things can be thought of in this area. And convergence of science, sustainability, entrepreneurship. Because if you create or democratize these small scale processing centers instead of huge processing companies, the small processing centers will not take enough energy, will not take enough, we will not create enough pollution also. Whereas this maximization, exacerbation, or scaling up always lead to a lot of pollutions. That requires change. The challenges still are the small landholding farmers and fragmented farming systems. The input cost, it is said high, it is not high, it is high purely because I can give you a simple example. A farmer from village takes a bus or train or two-wheeler or a cycle to go to a shop, nearby shop, transport all these things. Either he brings alone or for two people. If it is collectively bargained, the cost of transportation from the company to the village will be far less. This can be studied in different settings by people. In economics and agricultural economics, economics and commerce can do this. So there is a wonderful opportunity. The low price realization is a backward. The input cost is a backward one, and the price realization is a forward one. So these two can be addressed nicely. And very good common storage facilities will lead to post harvest losses. I mean reduction of post harvest losses. And the policy gaps, of course, and also the climate vulnerability and climate awareness and climate support systems always lead to very good amount of farmers adopting the new technologies easily, right? So here you can see this, the challenges again. It is said average annual income of farming households is $1,500. But I do not know how they arrived at, but I don't want to comment on this. In many areas, it is lesser than that only. The secondary income only help them to survive in the world. 1,500 multiplied by 80, even if you would, right? 12,000 rupees. It's impossible for one to get this. I do not know how much it's possible. This is not enough for one to sustain themselves. And proportion of debt is 52%. This is alarming. This has to come down. The farmer should be in a position to pay all these things. They cannot see agriculture as the only opportunity for them to earn money. They should have value addition they should be part of value addition. So that also should pay money back to them. That is important. The third one is the degraded lands. Because of the indiscriminate use of chemical fertilizers, our soil organic qualities are going down. If you talk little scientifically, if we take a 1 minute time of this and say the use of nitrogen indirectly depletes soil of carbon, because the carbon nitrogen ratio should be always 10 is to 1. It starts from 8 is to 1 to 24 is to 1. But 10 is to 1 is a good thing for microbes to work nicely. 10 grams of carbon, 1 gram of nitrogen. You add 1 gram of nitrogen in the soil, 10 grams of carbon is gone to the air. The carbon goes out. The carbon is the one stabilizes the yield also. If it goes to the air, bringing back the carbon is not that easy, right? So it requires changes in the mindset of the farmers why they should use fertilizers judiciously. And another one, expected decrease in the key crop yields over a period of years, 10 to 40%. Here it is 10 to 2080, but even now we are seeing this decline. Even the earlier graph, comparative graph between the China and other India, that is given very good, difference between that and this. Of course, these are other things. I just brought this only for understanding. Don't take it very seriously. Two words I used very specifically here, right? One is political agriculture, second one is responsible agriculture. Now we talk about sustainable agriculture, it is there. Eco-friendly agriculture, we all know. Market-oriented agriculture is the one now followed by farmers. If somebody sells their product for a higher price, the farmer will also adopt this. So this requires change. It requires a level playing field for us to bring the profits for all the crops. Right? We cannot eliminate crops. The high yielding varieties eliminated traditional varieties. But I take traditional variety at home and I eat only half of the high yielding variety what I consume normally, and it gives very good strength for me to even the whole day. Black rice I take on a daily basis. I take only, the chakki extracted oil. It gives very good benefit for me. I take only jaggery. It gives very good results for me. And farmer inspired agriculture. This is the real wisdom. And political agriculture is the one always I talk about MSP, minimum support price. You know the kind of farmers issues happening in Delhi, fighting for MSP, all these things are political agriculture. But policy based agriculture is the one is required now. Even changing the way MSP is given to the farmers and changing the way the fertilizers are sold to the farmers and changing the way the market dynamics works. And this all can come out of responsible agriculture. We should talk about responsible agriculture henceforth. The farmers, the policymakers, the politicians, the common man, everybody should talk about this, right? The road ahead is, we discuss all these things. Of course, only 2 slides left. I will be closing this soon. And strengthening the value chain in rural enterprises. This is very much important. Two things. One is stopping the migration of people from rural to urban areas. Second thing, giving better livelihoods for people in the living area where they live. We can't burden the cities. We can't pollute the areas, right? So it requires decentralized Pura models as proposed by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our former President of India. Investing heavily in R&D. Of course, Government of India now come up with 1 lakh crore for R&D again. And of course, digital literacy is happening. Mechanization, private industries are doing, but government also should start thinking about miniaturization of machines. Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, all Southeast Asian countries are examples for miniaturization of equipments. Agricultural implements. Really, they are doing wonderfully well. India requires all these things. And fostering public-private community partnership is more important. The farmers needs instilling confidence in the minds that this partnership will help them to move the ladder or climb the ladder. Last, building profitable, sustainable, youth, women-driven agriculture. This is very much important. We have to bring back youth and women in agriculture. That only will help us to move to next levels. Of course, I'm not taking much time here. This is the difference between the smart farming and the intelligent cropping systems. The AI in agriculture plays a major role. This is a new document brought out by Government of India along with other leading players. This talk about where AI can play a major role. That is where this is given. Now, I'm not going to read all these things. The document is available open source. You can read. But of course, it helps in intelligent crop planning, smart farming, and also linking the farm to fork. Every area it has its own advantages. Again, the macro plan, crop planning to soil health analysis to pest prediction control to marketplace. Everywhere it has its role, and even soil data collection, collation, data set analysis, and also identifying the soil degradation and erosion patterns, and of course also talk about the nutrition and water management systems, and even advisory areas. AI plays a major role. This is another thing. Last but one slide if I'm right, the pest management. This also has to do with AI because the drone based, even satellite based analysis gives enormous data for us to understand whether we really need to spray pesticides or not, or even whether what kind of pesticides should be used and what pest to be controlled, whether the farm has good pests or bad pests, I mean good insects or bad insects. Nowadays, what happened? The traditional wisdom is gone. Farmers are forced to think all insects are pests. It is not the case. There are even the good insects which can devour on the bad pests also there. So that has to be, I mean, reinvented, and this also be inculcated in the minds of the farmers, right? And of course, this is another thing in agriculture financing area. So the left one is talking about the future farming, the playbook. You can download it. It released in February 2025. I took all these things from that book, only the early 2-3 slides. And this one, the right side is talking about agriculture infrastructure fund. This is a 2-3 years old story, but still the no ball. Nationwide, one branch, one loan. This is another development happening so that farmers don't have to worry much about the financing. Only thing they have to worry about how they can control the factors that play havoc in agriculture or that factors that will help they do good agriculture. Once this is done, funding is not at all an issue in India now. Private financing is there, government financing is there, bulk financing is there, very different kind of financing is there now. So the money is there available. Of course, I talked about Tattoban Tenkadi earlier also. Again, I'm bringing this here because he is the founder of Bharatiya Kisan Sangh, one of the largest bodies in the world, I would say, and it's helping the farmers in a huge way to do agriculture. And he talked about integral humanism. The third way you can see here on the bottom, third way. The third way is nothing but Indian way of doing agriculture. India is also divided into agroclimatic zones. Every agroclimatic zone has its own characteristic agriculture process. So we have to value that and see how we can add value on top of that to help our people to do something good. So this is what I just want to thrust here. And of course, he had his own views about this. Everything has own relevance. The self-reliance in Swadeshi, this is more important he talked about. The Swadeshi economics. India has to have its own economics. India cannot be played in the hands of the European or US or international economics so that we always have a backlash. So this requires we should have our own seeds, we should have our own fertilizer production system. We can't import fertilizers, we can't use heavy energy imported from other countries. We have to play what we have with us and also create an internally robust economy for us to have a sustainable growth and better life for all people. This is what he stressed, and still his vision holds good. And today is his incidentally today is his anniversary day. World, the country over, all over the country, all over every department, many departments are organizing many programs to commemorate his birthday. And of course, the title you can talk about this self-reliance and community welfare rather than just profit maximization. So it is not money alone that plays or give wonderful life of the farm to the farmers. The self-reliance is more important, and overall community welfare is more important. I think we have come to the conclusion. It's a journey the country has taken forward from subsistence farming to smart farming, adopting technologies, having new policies, having new people, having new methodologies, and still the Bharat fields to the national global markets. The journey has to continue. Of course, we will be, the difference is we should start thinking about our area where we live, our district we live, our village we live, our block we live, our state we live, and as a country we live, and then we talk about the global we live. So we need to work towards policies and methodologies. There can be global method, I mean, country level policies, there can be state level policies, there can be block level policies also. What we see in insurance areas. The insurance money is given to people only based on blocks or firkas also, even I would say sometimes. So we need to even localize these things. When we talk about Panchayat Raj, we have to talk about Panchayats also. So we need to help the farmers on the Panchayat level also to get benefit through the Panchayats. So all these things will come in due days, in the coming days, and it's also due. I hope we will also work, we all together can work towards that. With this, I stop. Thank you so much for the patience. And if you have some extra time, we can stop for a few minutes and move again to the next session. Thank you so much. I leave it to the organizers now to help me deciding the next session. Thank you so much. If you have any questions in between, I'll be happy to answer.
Yes, sir. I have one
Uh,
question.
Yes, sir.
Sir, one of the challenge you have mentioned so many challenges in this case, but my point is that there is a lack of integration between finance commission and this one because India is the largest country in terms of population. So, what is the prediction about requirement of the food to the country, and there is some systematic method through which we should find out that this is my requirement, this I am import, this much will be produced, so that the gap between the production and import can be reduced, or make decisions very scientifically, that we can be much more independent rather than depending upon foreign country. And second
Uh,
one is that India's this processed food business is growing like anything. So integration between agri product and this processed food industry is also needed. And third one is that India is always doing great in agriculture, but marketing of agriculture product is not so effective. In last 75 years, we are not in a position to develop one mango brand, but USA has already developed so many other brands like California, Badam, and etc. So I must say this one, I'm envy of them in this case on a lighter part.
I'll give you a very interesting example. Some 10, 15 years back, I had a chance going to Germany, right? The German collaborator, I'm basically a biotechnology person, microbiology, biotechnology, all these areas I'm working on. But when I went there, the collaborator was, she received me in the airport. She, after reaching the laboratory, she offered two things. One is Indian sambar with rice, and second one is mango bar. The mango bar has traveled all the way from Andhra Pradesh to Leipzig, Germany. And the recipe of sambar recipe, she learned from one of her friends. She prepared only for me. The world is looking for changes. But in India, we were mostly in our traditional mindset. Though with kickstarting the Startup India, Stand Up India policies in 2014, changed the way we think. Though we had globalization in 90s, when Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister, we had this globalization. But a globalization gave ideas for people to move from place to place. Otherwise, movement of people were much restricted. But after this 2014 only, we started. I'm not talking politically, I'm talking only the development side, I'm talking. The new startups are coming up. Now, what was 14 in 2013, now we have come to the level of 1,75,000 startups from different areas. Even in 1,75,000, we have only 4,200 startups in agriculture related areas. This is purely because there is an inherent fear in the minds. If you talk about IT, people will simply say, oh, if I prepare this software, I can sell it to this X, Y, Z people, right? And if I buy something and sell it to the market, I know where I can sell the product. But starting from the scratch, taking a mango, even this year, the plight of mango farmers was pathetic, I would say. You know, the overproduction of mango in the farms rendered this price of the mango to only 2 rupees farm price. 2 rupees for Totapuri. And many farmers were even forced to sell, right? Even throw in the farms. This is purely because this is monsoon driven or period driven. Mangoes are available in south only between May and July. That's all. April will start getting small amounts. But May, June, July overproduction. We don't have the capacity to do that. I know in the 90s there was a very interesting publication by Tekla Mariam Zaku and other people how the vaccine production company in Africa was used to produce biofertilizers and biopesticides in those days, 1990s I'm talking about. Now we have to create facilities which can process different crops, right? Only now we have small production facilities processing only mangoes. Can these mango processing facilities also process bananas? Can they also process other fruit crops? So this is more important. Integrated production facilities or tailor-made production facilities are more important. We have to start working towards that. So unless otherwise we start working towards, we will be working in silos only. So this is a requirement of the day. Research departments, we have so many research centers. They are not diverting the attention towards this. So only if we address this, this can happen. But in terms of, for your first question, yes, we are evolving over a period of years. Now that we see a relationship between money and agriculture. Otherwise, agriculture was seen as a service area. Now only we are converting agriculture also as an industry. We saw farmers as pitiful people in those days. Right? Now we are changing the way we see farmers also. Now there is a possibility. The coming days will address a lot of answers to your questions. You see the way, even I would relate this also. You see the farmers in Punjab, you see the farmers in other states. The enterprising farmers, you can see that. Their plight is also changing now. You know, they are also getting
Not only, sir, the point is that if I am a person, if I am entrepreneur, if I am a farmer, and if I would like to start any service oriented unit which is associated with the agriculture, then bank is not providing loan. Bank says that you are not directly associated with the agriculture.
Sir, that is where
Suppose
I'm coming to. That is where I'm coming to.
so they say that will not be allowed.
No, it is there. Only thing government insists on farmers coming together. FPOs has the teeth now. You can start your self-inspired FPO. You can approach the government. Not necessarily you have to aggregate 300 farmers. You can 20 farmers. You can join together. Aggregate your farmlands. Farm an FPO. Go to the government. Knock the doors. NABARD is ready to support you. Government is ready to support you.
Role of agro produce organization Khethiwadi Utpan Bazar Samiti is also very important and catalyst. They can easily make our product available in the foreign market, but I don't know why it is not possible at a large level.
No, it is possible. Our farmers shying away going and talk to people. See, I gave you the example of our Amul is a wonderful example. Why not our
Yes.
farmers? Why not our farmers go collectively go and talk to Amul, ask them to start one unit there, or they can. Amul also is ready to help lot of farmer producer organizations. Seshadri in Maharashtra is a wonderful example. You can go and talk to Seshadri, and they can give you wonderful ideas. More than going to departments asking, you can go and talk to the success people who are with success. They can help us in replicating all these ideas.
Approach needs to be changed.
That is what I'm telling. See, farmers also should start coming together. I mean, shedding their ego, shedding more the fear. They should come together. 10 people coming together. If they show some examples in pockets, then that will become a spiral effect. Have a spiral effect where more people also will follow. Last year I was in Madanapalli, Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh, Madanapalli is the capital of tomato in Asia. How many tomato processing facilities are there? Very less. Now the government is inviting more people, but people going there is still less because we don't have the market created for that. We have to create a market first. So it's a chicken egg story. Who to start first? Where to start first? Chicken or egg? This is the biggest issue. But you start small scale, slowly add modules and try to win over the market. That is how it should be. We can see, for example, even if you have to process some millets, you can start with 100 kilograms. You don't have to think about 1 lakh kilograms processing facility, start with now. Or 1000 kilos, start small. Have one module, succeed with that, and go to second module, third module. Like that we can go. That is much easier. There is another question from somebody. See, I don't know name.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, very informative session. First time in my lifetime, actually, I am going back and understanding agricultural insights. But one question for you, sir. Like when we can become, since because we are agricultural family background, I'm working as an HOD in RJS Institute of Management Studies. When can we become a sustainable, being a farmers, price related issues? Take an example where we can take sometimes the agricultural commodities will sell at 60 rupees, sometimes it will be 6 rupees, where farmers is crying at not getting his cost price and his cost of production. So can government taking any initiative towards it, and what is your viewpoint on this? Can you throw some light on this, sir?
Again, best of two worlds, I would say, sir. I had a chance working for sugar industry, right? In those days, Tamil Nadu is one of the good examples for sugar industry also. That time, what we do is we used to sign agreement with the farmers to supply sugarcane to the company. After 1 year, government cooperative company also was there. Equal amount of cooperatives we had. What happened that time, right? The farmers used to sign agreement, even take the loans from the banks. That time we are talking about getting loans also were difficult in those days. But company, since because they are tied up with the company, they will get loans also. They will get fertilizers on time. They will get pesticides on time. They will get implements on time. In spite of all these things, if the cost of the sugarcane is very high outside ecosystem, farmers will sell it outside. So what happens? The agreement is broken in between. The companies, even some cooperative companies went to the court against the farmers. But can they win against the farmers? They have to fail. At one point of they have to withdraw. The farmers also has to understand what is the optimum price. 10 rupees or 60 rupees. Tomato is a very good example, right? In a scarcity period, it will sell for 120 rupees per kilo. In surplus period, it will be 50 paisa per kilo or 25 paisa per kilo. That means farmers will be forced to allow the crop to rot in the fields. So that means where do we take a middle path? If they are tied up with some industries, I'm not promoting industries here, or FPOs, collective FPOs, FPOs can create a wonderful production system or processing system so that FPO can absorb the losses. If they agree for 15 rupees per kilo across the year, I'm just giving an example. I'm not telling 15 rupees, right? That can be worked out by only the APOs of that particular area. But even if it is sold for 60 rupees, the farmer is selling to the APOs. Even if it is sold for 50 paisa, farmer is selling to the APOs for 15 rupees, then it is equated. Farmers see only immediate profits because they are also in problems, distress. They are spending huge money. Their family has to be taken care of. This is a livelihood problem. So we can't even blame the farmers. But at one point, we have to align in one single point. All farmers should come together. They should also agree for that. Then the transformation will happen. They can start dictating the price to the external market also. Cold storages, yes, it's another possibility, right? And logistics, another possibility. Removing the middleman, lot of things to be addressed. It is not that easy also with the kind of growing complexities and chaos in the ecosystem. So that means it requires addressing all these things together. Government at times cannot control. Government can come up with policies, but it's up to the individuals and implementing departments and the states has to come into this area to bring all these people together. So FPOs, though central government gives money, state governments have the onus of promoting FPOs. State government has the onus of promoting or controlling the fertilizers inputs. State government has the control of seeds, right? So it's a state subject, agriculture. I'm talking about this, right? So that means there is a two different governments are working together. We cannot blame the state. We cannot blame the center. So the more responsible lies in the states. They have to bring people together to work for a common collective cause. So this requires more efforts because the agriculture departments are run by governments, state governments. Irrespective of states, I'm talking about this. So the state governments have more responsibility in bringing all these things together. No matter which state we are talking about, this state, that state, omitting this X, Y, Z, ruling state, opposition state, nothing about this. Everywhere, the states have more responsibility. This has to be addressed by them, one. And second thing, we cannot politicize agriculture. We should not politicize agriculture because already farmers are distressed, trouble, and we cannot use them as pawns for political mileages. This requires educating the politicians also. I'm talking openly, right? So this is also important. Farmers should be made understand why the policies are coming up. The 1990 policies may be different from 2000 policies to 2015 policies, 2025 policies. Why I'm telling you is globalization was something different, a different policy. We signed agreement in Gantt and Dungle draft. That is a different case. 2004, we came up with the policy of MNREGA, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. 2014, we came up with a different policy of reducing the funds for MNREGA, but increasing more of funds for other supporting structures. 2025, we are talking about digital agriculture. So everything has to be taken the right sense to the farmers. Not farmers cannot take it rightly. Somebody has to take this in the right sense to the farmers. Then transformation will happen. But it's happening in pockets. Slowly it will. Only thing, it all depends on the way it is adopted in different settings. Then things will change. The sugarcane was one of the ruling crops in 20 years back. Now you see the difference. Sugarcane is all out of system. Again, it's regaining, but in a different format. The sugar lost its price, so farmers also lost interest. They moved to other crops. Now with ethanol taking front stage, now sugarcane is coming up again. People talk about sugarcane. People talk about sorghum. Sorghum in Andhra Pradesh recently, Karnataka only, if I'm right. There is a farmer talking about extracting sugar jaggery from sorghum. So that's also another model. We know how to extract jaggery from coconut, right? Even from palm trees. So all these things are interplay. So it requires addressing locally. The local people, non-governmental organizations, government departments, and the kind of good Samaritans like you, anybody for that matter, work closely with the farmers. Even the departments also in the rural settings, any department, not only agriculture department, any department can go and talk to the farmers, also help them understand the ecosystem developments and handle them and take them next level. Every college is supposed to have 5 villages identified as part of their social responsibility. How many colleges do this? Justice, right? Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, something? I forgot, right? 5 villages, out of 5 villages. All departments can be, at least in some levels, they can be transferred. The ideas can be transferred them. At least if not, they're coming up with technologies, the government policies can be taken. The financing system can be, financial literacy can be given to those people. Technologies can be told to the people. And the way the agricultural marketing happens, everything can be given to those people if the institutions, higher education institutions also work, are inclined to work towards these policies. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And even one more point, sir. One small example. I think I'm taking too much of time. So
Please.
one point we can see, like a person who is growing a carrot, he will sell at 6 rupees. A same carrot will be in a city. A consumer is consuming at 60 rupees. We
Why
can,
is it so? Why is it so?
because all these middlemen are eating of the in between.
Why not farmers come together and eliminate the middleman?
That is a
Right.
big challenge there in our farmer
You're,
systems.
you're part of which part of your country you said? Sorry, sir.
Sir, Karnataka only, Hoskote, Malur, like Bangalore.
Okay. Hoskote is not too far from Bangalore.
Correct.
Why not you create a farmer producer organization there? You yourself can create and go and talk to all the farmers in all the vegetable shops in Bangalore. 10 shops is enough for you to evacuate your product easily. One small lorry, 101, 201, so many lorries are there, right? Only
Correct.
thing, little effort for you people to aggregate all people together, bring all the gunny sacks, or you can now, crates are available, put everything in the
Correct.
crates, even grade it and send all the crates to the city. Yeah, all shops will be happy to buy from you. There, in fact, I gave this idea. I was part of a startup company in Bangalore. Two fellows are running this company now, along with Ravi Shankar of Dayan Sagar University, Dr. G. Ravi Shankar. Right, he is a life chairman of life sciences there in a university. We started a company. In fact, I told them to work on mushrooms. It's a wonderful product, but people should come forward to work on this. If
Correct, sir.
you're ready to do that, I'll be happy to be part of that also.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely, sir. Please share your details.
I
Sir.
can
Yeah.
enable. Don't expect me to give money or something like that.
No, no,
Of
I am
course, I
not
can bring
expecting any
money
money and all.
also. I can
uh,
bring money also. That's not an issue. But provided
yes.
if something good happens there,
Okay, okay.
right?
We request your PPT and your contact details has to be shared, sir.
Yeah, madam has this. I think the organizers have the PPT with them, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay, sir. Thank you
It
so
is
much,
there,
sir.
sir.
Very informative session. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. Always welcome.
Thank you,
Madam.
sir, for taking us through an enriching journey of India's agricultural history and illustrating its deep connection with the GDP and overall economic progress. Your talk offered valuable perspective that truly enhanced our understanding of the subject and emerging role of agri startups. Participants, we will have 5 minutes of break. I request all of you to rejoin the session after 5 minutes.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Is there any feedback now, ma'am?
Ma'am, we'll be sharing the feedback at last after the second session. If you are in the WhatsApp group, you will get the feedback in there only. If you're not in the WhatsApp group, it will be sent through chat box, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.